watch 18 innings of a game that ended at 1:40 in the morning last night, 2:40 out east. I did, down the street at my hotel, stay up till 1:40 in the morning to watch some history from that game. I knew in first grade that I wanted to be on TV to talk about sports. I knew that I loved sports. I knew that I loved to talk. What I did not understand was that I would be in this profession, which would be so much more than just baseball or sports or television. What I didn't understand was that the television business, just like any business any of you are in, have been in, or will be in, is the people business. And the people business is the trust business. What no one could have ever told me when I had that dream starting so young to talk about sports on TV, what no one could have told me was that my ability to build trust at the highest level with some of the biggest name athletes would take me to places I never thought would happen. It would get me this world championship ring from 2015. It would take me all the way to the White House. So I want to take you back to 2016, the year after the Royals won the World Series. We finished a day game at Kauffman Stadium. We got a flight to Washington, D.C. to be honored at the White House. I changed into some jeans after the game. My wife would come to the game. We were allowed to bring our spouses on this trip on the team charter, a bigger plane than usual. And here we were, getting ready to fly out for an off day, spend Wednesday night in D.C., Thursday morning at the White House, and be back home for the rest of the off day. Everyone was as happy as can be, led by the now late David Glass, the former owner of the Royals, the former CEO, billionaire, former CEO of Walmart. I always like to say this, if you started something big, for any of you younger people out there, you know how there's a grocery store and a Walmart? Yeah, those didn't exist in the past. David Glass came up with that idea. I guess if you come up with an idea that big and you're the CEO of Walmart, and eventually the owner of the Royals, and eventually selling the team before you pass away, you're gonna make $1 billion. But David Glass was so proud that day that this small market team, the Kansas City Royals, that defied the odds and won the World Series, and everyone was as proud and as happy as could be to represent Kansas City, the state, the region, and the Royals. Everyone was happy except for this guy, Steve Vizion. Now, Viz is retired, but a former broadcast colleague of mine. Do you know anyone that is the nicest person you've ever met? You know that person that is so nice that it makes you think, I could probably be a little bit of a better person. That's Viz. And his wife, Stace. The two nicest people in the world, retired. They live in Colorado now. Nature walks, yoga, peace, love, and happiness. But we get on the bus to the airport, and I hear Fizz and Stace arguing. And I didn't want to eavesdrop, but I'd never heard them argue before. And then I heard what was wrong. He had left his championship ring in the bathroom at Kauffman Stadium. These things aren't cheap. He was losing his mind. Calling, nobody could find it. I don't know about all of you, if you know what it's like to lose an $18,000 World Series ring, but I freak out when I leave my charger in the hotel. $5. So I felt terrible for him, but like anything else, I moved on with my day. We got to DC. I go to unpack. We have to be in the lobby at 7 a.m. sharp. Mandatory breakfast out of the White House. If you're not there for the breakfast, they're leaving you behind. Security, all that stuff, too tight. Timelines. So, I pull out the suitcase when we get to the hotel room. Hang up my wife's dress. Hang up my suit coat. Hang up my dress shirt. Forgot to pack dress pants. I'm sure there's some important people that can go to the White House in jeans. I'm not one of them. And I'm losing my mind. Put me in front of a television camera, put me in front of an audience, I'm fine. But in that moment, I lost all senses. I'm sitting there thinking, can I put an ad on Facebook for some 38 32s? Is there an all-night tailor open that might have an extra pair? Is there a pants closet at the White House that they can maybe lend me something? No, I mean, this is the irrational thought that I'm going through. Thankfully, my wife said, hold on, let me check. And there was one place open in the District of Columbia until 10. What was it?
Walmart.
Of course it was Walmart. Mr. Glass loved this story so much. We got to Walmart at 9:57 that night, and I was able to walk out with those pants. That's the end result. We got into the White House doing our Abe Lincoln pose. Poor Fizz, no ring. But if I back up, we were walking up the White House lawn, getting ready to go through security, and my wife's telling everybody about my Walmart pants, which I didn't think that was a big deal, but she thought it was funny, I don't know. And we're waiting in line, and there's bulletproof glass and bomb-sniffing dogs and Secret Service and machine guns and earpieces, everything you might imagine, security like you've never seen. And Rex Hudler walks up to me in line. Does anyone know who Rex Hudler is? All right, if you know, you know. Rex is one of the most giant, fun personalities in the world. He says things that he doesn't always know what he's saying or what they mean, so that when Rex once on live television called the moon a beautiful planet, I don't even think we need to teach that class here at Hutch. I think we all know that the moon is not a planet. That's HUD every single day. We laugh, we have so much fun. He's a former big leaguer. He's the best. But he walks up to me that day in line, and he walks up to me. He's got big time energy, and he talks like this. And he walks up and goes, "Hey, Goldie, take my ring." Oh, HUD, I don't need your ring. I got my own ring. He goes, "It's not mine. It's Physioc's. I stole it yesterday." You did what? Yeah. Ryan, the feeder, and I, Ryan's in the screen next to me. Ryan, I just saw it on the counter and we swiped it. Well, why would you do that? Well, we just thought we'd mess with him. Don't you know someone in the White House? Well, yeah, Fizz and I went on a tour of the White House last year. The press secretary for Obama, Josh Earnest, is a Kansas City native. He is famous for doing press briefings every day with his Royals mug. I said, great. Take this ring and give it to Ernest, and maybe he can give it to Obama or Secret Service, and we'll embarrass Fizz in front of the whole world. So I did the only thing I could think of. I said, fine, give it to me, I'll do it. Want to be a good teammate. So I am walking through the metal detectors and the bomb-sniffing dogs and the bulletproof glass and the Secret Service agents and the machine guns, the earpieces, the whole works, with a combined $35,000 worth of jewelry and a $14 pair of pants. We get in, we meet Josh Earnest. He gathers us broadcasters around and he says, before the president comes in, I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you because as a huge Royals fan, whether I get home in time to watch the start of the game or there's a crisis going on around the world and I don't get home till the 8th inning, I always tune in and you bring me a piece of home. I love the Royals so much that I've got my mug, they gave me this ring, and everybody's looking at me and goes, but I don't know why the ring says Physioc on it. That was the look that I got behind the camera, and I'm here to tell you right now, do not leave here and steal anyone else's jewelry. But thankfully, Fizz was a good sport about it, as you can see, because he is the nicest guy in the world. And the better point, for any of you athletes out here, and I know some of the athletes are here, some of the baseball players, where are the baseball players at? I can see you guys, I didn't even need to know. You got the baseball look. Baseball and being in a locker room and a dugout is full of pranks. Softball players too, right? Any sport. It's long, it can get monotonous, you gotta have some fun. Don't steal each other's jewelry, okay? More importantly, the story signifies something else. That when you build, I mentioned the word trust, when you build great trust with people, you can really accomplish a lot in a community with a group. Preferably not stealing each other's jewelry, but we have built enough trust up to be able to have that kind of fun. Trust in my world looks like this. Oh man, his hat was stuck in there. Sometimes I'm just a bystander. Sometimes you know, get a little mad. And sometimes I'm a flat out target. The number one question I get asked is, how many suits have you ruined? None. They come back fine from the dry cleaners. And the second question I get is it cold? They're not putting it in the microwave in advance. That's where we're at now. This is kind of where it started.
Oh.
Back in the 80s, we wore sweaters like this. I don't know if they're coming back or not. We didn't have the cell phones and all that. Anyone in here could be a broadcaster today, and you could put it right now on Instagram Live or anything like that. We didn't have any of that, so I had to go to my friend's basement in high school and we pretended to be on TV. I could have never known back then, as that dream kept evolving, I could have never known what it would be like and what it would mean to be a broadcaster in the lessons that really apply to any job in any bit of life. All I knew was I wanted a job in TV. So graduating from high school in Chicago, where my family had moved, and then going to school at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, I graduated and I was ready to go out into the television world. I was ready to go out into the TV world. There was no internet, it was just starting. How do you get a hold of a television station? I subscribed to some phone service that I paid like $50 a month for, and you'd call it every day, and you'd punch in your code, and if there was an opening around the country, you'd send in the mail a tape and a resume and a cover letter. Nowadays, you just send a YouTube link and send something on LinkedIn. I ask you this question. What makes you different? If you're young and getting ready to go into the workforce, the work world, you got a skill, you're working on a skill. What makes you different? If you're currently in the workforce, I love to say this to groups like insurance groups, or fill in the blank. There's a million options. There are a lot of bankers, there are a lot of fill in the blank. What makes you different? Imagine being a kid coming out of college and maybe there's 10,000 kids that want to be on TV and there's only 30 or 40 openings. My getting that job was going to be like winning the lottery. And I sent those tapes out after I got the information, and everyone came back 2 weeks later with a rejection letter. 0 for 25. I was starting to think about going down the street from my parents' house in Chicago and working at the local hot dog stand where I'd worked during high school and parts of college. Funny story, they offered me a job to manage that place, which would end up paying twice as much as my first television job did. I was desperate. My dream of being on TV was on the line. So I picked up the phone. Nobody picks up the phone anymore nowadays. But it's pretty scary to cold call. I had a script. I'd sit in my parents' bedroom on their landline with a script. Hi, Mr. Smith, whatever the TV station was. My name is Joel Goldberg. I just graduated from the University of Wisconsin. I know you don't have any openings right now, but I'm passing through town next week. Would you be around on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? If so, could I stop by and hand deliver a tape and introduce myself? I was never going to any of these towns. Terre Haute, Indiana, Mason City, Iowa,